Hey guys, welcome back to the R.O.A.D podcast. This is part 2 of R.O.A.D Sit Down with Rob Swift, hip-hop DJ, turntablist, and original member of the turntablist group, the X-Ecutioners. Let's get back into the interview.
You coming on the show, we've always wanted you to come on a podcast, you know? And then when this book came out, it came at an interesting time because recently we've been having podcasts, and I wasn't even aware of this name, which was Tariq Nasheed, right? Uh-huh. And we were talking about that recently with the Snips episode. And then we were talking about, we had this conversation previously about the birth of hip hop and where it came from. But you releasing this book, I feel it's an important
ingredient to the conversation as well.
Well, yeah, I think the conversation is important. I think the acknowledgement is important. And I think, it further goes into detail about the history. And, I really appreciate what you've been doing for hip hop. In addition to
thank you.
In addition to DJing, creating albums, and I feel like even in the 2000s, when you guys had the Built from Scratch album,
X-Ecutioners,
the X-Ecutioners,
Loud Records, big ups to Sean C.
I feel like that was an integral time for turntablism too.
100%.
You guys probably have one of the biggest records for a turntablist crew, right?
Not probably.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah, there's no arguing that, bro. And you know what's crazy? If you don't mind, I'd like to just give a little backstory on how that album came to be. In the early 90s, the X-Men Collective, which started out as 4 members, Steve D, Rock Raider, rest in peace, Johnny Cash, and Sean C, grew. By 1991, they put me down. Rewind 1 year, they put Diamond J down, who was EPMD's DJ, and X-Ecutioners, who was a white DJ from Miami, Florida. Again, in 1991, they put me and my mentor, Dr. Butcher, down. Dr. Butcher was DJing for Cool G Rap. Right?
Were you always were you always in that circle, or did they get your attention when you won the DMC, the East Coast?
Well, I got their attention. They were these dope DJs from Harlem. I was a nobody in Queens in the community of battle DJing. So I was popular in my neighborhood.
Yeah.
By 1990, I was the man in high school. Myself and Psycho Les from the Beatnuts.
Wow,
we
crazy.
Went to junior high school together, and then we went to the same high school.
Yeah.
And just as a little anecdote, in 1988, Psycho Les, myself, my older brother, Universal, and his friend John from Philadelphia released a single called I Don't Play on an independent hip-hop label.
Wow.
So we were already making demos in the late 80s, mailing them to record companies. I have demos. I might have brought one of myself rapping. Yeah, totally. So although I was doing my thing in Queens, I was really an unknown. And by 1991, I just wanted to enter DJ battles because I saw an excerpt of a DMC battle from 1990 that was aired on Video Music Box. Big ups to Ralph McDaniels.
Yeah, big up Ralph.
What do you call him, Mr. Blake? Who was the person active? Who
was in the video?
Yeah, who was in the video?
So in this video that I saw one afternoon after racing home, it wasn't Miz. After racing home from high school, it wasn't Aladdin.
I was trying to remember the clip because Video Music Box played them. They played them.
Yeah. Was a
big thing.
Yeah, it was an excerpt from the 1990 East Coast DMC that took place at a club called the Car Wash.
Yeah, I remember Car Wash.
Right. And in the clip, it was a series of clips. So one clip had Plastic Man, big ups to Plastic Man from Brooklyn, who came up as a Superman. At some point, bro, we got to talk about Clark before we end this podcast.
Rest in peace, of course.
Clark started the Superman, and Plastic Man was a member of the Superman. In another clip, Ralph McDaniels showed a guy by the name of E. Kim, and E. Kim did production for Percy P.
Okay.
And then in the final clip that really did it for me, we see Steve D, who was at that time like the front guy of the X-Men. And he had this Superman shirt on, he had sideburns, and he was doing what we call beat juggling.
Right.
Taking a section of a song with duplicate copies of a record and then rearranging the drum sounds. Mm-hmm. And I saw that and I was just blown away, bro. I was just like, yo, like Plastic Man was dope. Kim was dope. No shade to those guys. But when I saw Steve D, I was just like blown away because...
This is the Cash Money and Marvelous routine?
No, it was the Houdini Friends routine.
Yes.
So...
Then we get down to the nitty gritty. Friends. I remember that. Houdini's for my builders, so bro, I definitely went crazy with that shit.
I'm like 18. I'm so glad we're talking about this. I'm 18, jaw on the floor, staring at the TV like, yo, that shit is dope. And I was already studying battle DJing prior to watching that clip because I would listen to the radio. Big ups to Johnny Juice, who had a college radio, and he would play audio excerpts of these DMCs. So remember, no social media back then, and you were lucky to have a VCR. But everybody had a radio. So I would listen to the radio. Johnny Juice would play these excerpts of these battles. So sonically, I was hearing it and then figuring out, all right, what did Cutmaster Swift do with Peter Piper here? Like, it sounds like he's moving the record this way. Like, I'd be at my parents' or on my dad's turntables. Like, it sounds like he's moving the record this way, and I think he's doing that. And by myself, I was figuring this thing out that we call beat juggling. But then when I saw Steve in that video music box excerpt, I was able to see it. And I was like, oh, that's what they're doing. So I started practicing. Thankfully, Psycho Les by then started partnering up with Juju who he and Psycho Les formed the Beat Nuts. Mm-hmm. Juju became like a mentor of mine. He would come to my house. I would teach him certain ideas on, on the turntables or whatever, how to DJ, how to scratch.
That's crazy.
And
y'all would go digging together?
Yes, we'd go record shopping together. He would bring records over to my house and educate me on breaks.
Yeah. Was Psycho Les a digger too, or he was mostly rapping?
I met Psycho Les as just a regular hip hop head in the 6th grade. We both were into graph and breaking.
Right.
And on top of the crew that I was in with Ram, Dave, Joey, and White Boy Billy, me and Les had our own separate crew. We called ourselves TFB, the Fantastic Breakers.
What's good, everyone? This is P-Dot from Reflections of a DJ, the R.O.A.D podcast. Whether you're just discovering the podcast or a day one listener, if you've been loving the content and want more, here's your chance to support the pod, get closer to the action, and unlock exclusive content by joining our Patreon. For just $5 a month, you can join our Tier 1 R.O.A.D subscription. This is for our loyal listeners who want early access to new episodes 3 to 4 weeks ahead, your name in the credits of every video episode, and access to our exclusive R.O.A.D edits pack. For the hardcore supporters, we've got our Tier 2 R.O.A.D for Life subscription for just $10 a month. This is the all-in package. You'll get everything from Tier 1, plus a monthly bonus episode, early access to our exclusive R.O.A.D 10 and R.O.A.D Talk interviews, behind-the-scenes content, our In the Crate series, along with unreleased projects. This is your chance to support the podcast and get more of the content that you love. Join the family today at patreon.com/R.O.A.D podcast. Check the link in our descriptions. We appreciate you, and let's keep this journey going.
And we used to go to USA roller skating rink on 69th Street and Roosevelt Avenue, where they shot the scene between Rocksteady against Dynamic. Yeah. We used to go there and battle dudes. So we started off as DJs. My brother taught us. And fast forward to 1990, Les decided he was going to leave DJing alone and stick with production. He caught the production bug from being around Juju. So I was kind of alone. I'm on an island by myself now, DJing. Real quick, Les was nasty as a DJ. Really? When we first started out, believe it or not, Les was actually better than me.
He's DJing now.
Yeah, now he's back DJing. Yeah. He's just, you know, I'm not saying just like, yeah, he's DJ now, and not that I expect that you got to be a beat juggler and scratch under your leg and all that stuff, but I just feel like he doesn't push the envelope when I see him in videos the way he used to when we were 12 years old.
Right.
Les was nasty. He was better than me. So I was by myself. Juju was like, yo, you need to meet this cat I know named Dr. Butcher. So he took me to Dr. Butcher's house, and because I was so impressed with what Steve D did and what the other DJs were doing in the late 80s who I was studying, in my head, when I went to Drew's house, Dr. Butcher, I thought, I'm going to wow this guy because I can do what Steve D does. Like, I figured it out because I got the video. And I could do what Cutmaster Swift does. I figured it out. Like, I had the audio. So this dude is going to be impressed by me. So I took out 5 minutes of funk, Houdini, and did Steve's routine in front of him.
Oh, wow.
And then I took out Cutmaster Swift's Peter Piper Run DMC routine. Did it in front of Drew. Right. And in my head, I got off. Juju was standing there. And I'm like, yeah, I killed it. I killed it. I'm happy.
Right.
And then Dr. Butcher got on and he wiped the floor with me, bro. And the thing is, he wasn't trying to. He wasn't intending on. It's not like he was there to battle me. It was his house. He was just like, yeah, man, we're going to have fun and let's practice together. I went with the mindset of like, I need to prove to this guy that I'm good too, whereas he just wanted to practice with me, you know? But the reason I say he wiped the floor with me is because Drew wasn't doing 5 minutes of funk. Right. He wasn't cutting up Peter Piper. He was putting on records like Ultimate Breaks and Beats, Octopus Breaks, Impeach the President.
Oh.
And then doing crazy shit with Impeach the President. And so I'm watching him like, this is humbling, man, because Drew, this kid is right now fucking up this record that none of these DJs have touched in the battles that I've watched on Video Music Box or the battles that I've listened to courtesy of Johnny Juice. And he stopped, and I was just like, basically like in the martial arts movies, man, like take me as a student. And he was like, look, Rob, you're dope at copying. I'm gonna teach you how to be dope just being yourself. Like, you've nailed down the movements, the techniques, you know how to copy all the different routines that you like. I'm gonna teach you how to be creative with what you learned, the mechanics and all that. So we trained from July to March, from July 1990 to March of 1991, and I entered the 1991 DMC, and that's where Steve and the rest of the X-Men discovered me. And I placed third. After placing third, they put me down and Dr. Butcher. And then the group, the X-Men, trickled down to myself and Rock Raider, basically. Sean C., who was an original member of the group, started producing. Steve D was touring with like Guy and Michael Jackson. Two Live Crew.
Yo, so I met you, or no, I actually saw you first at the Palladium with Akinelli. So when did that happen?
Damn. Oh, man.
That was 91?
That was 1994.
That was 94? No, it wasn't that late. It couldn't have been that late.
It was that late. Yeah.
Well, you did the Bismarck routine.
Yeah, it was 1994.
This was before you did?
The Palladium. Yeah, no, so I came up with the Biz routine in late 1991 because I kept getting jerked, I felt, at these battles. I felt like there was a lot of nepotism in these competitions. So I'd get in a battle, and then one of the Supermen would like be judging and have a protege in the battle, and then it would get back to me courtesy of DJ Cuber. Sorry, Q, for outing you. Yo, Rob, man, I don't know, man. I picked you, man, but like, yo, Scratch was telling us to vote for this guy. You know what I mean? And I'm like, yo, word, fuck, yo, that's fucked up, man. Like, so I felt like that kept happening. Sorry, Q. That kept happening. And so I was like, I'm going to come up with a routine that's just going to, it's not going to allow anybody to fucking rob me. Right? Yeah. And I came up with the Biz routine. And I did that in the 1992 East Coast and won that.
Clark Kent's Superman, they always had a rivalry with the X-Men, right? I mean,
and that's why we wanted to battle. I'm so glad we're talking about this. Yeah. That's why the X-Men wanted to battle the Supermen. It's because before my generation of X-Men members, Steve D was the one battling in the late 80s, and by 1991 he retired. And he was experiencing the same nepotism. Plastic Man, I love you, bro. I love you. But in 1990, in the East Coast DMC, the video that was played on Video Music Box, courtesy of Ralph McDaniels, you see Plastic Man and you see Steve D. And just in those quick little 30 seconds of each DJ, it was obvious, bro, that Steve won. Steve was just doing progressive juggling shit that nobody was doing. I love you, Plas. But Steve won, and they gave it to Plas. But why? Rich, who's the Superman?
Let's be fair.
Scratch.
Let's be fair.
Rich was a Superman. Scratch, who was a Superman.
There were other battles where they were doing the beat juggling stuff too.
Yeah, no, totally. Yo, we could get. That's a whole other conversation. Okay. Juggling.
Juggling. Just want to set the record.
Yeah, I'm with you. Juggling was something that Miz did in the DMCs before Steve. Aladdin did in the DMCs before Cash Money was juggling. Maybe not drum beats, but he was juggling using the same hand choreography. So we're on the same page there. But my point is, Steve won. And Rich was on the judging panel. I love you, Rich, with all my fucking heart. Scratch was on the judging panel. Scratch, I have mad respect for you. Clark, R.I.P. I fucking love you to death, bro. I miss you. But there was nepotism. So
I wasn't there. I don't have nothing to do with that.
So they would, you know, in that specific battle, Plastic Man won.
Okay.
But Steve should have won that shit. So that's why the X-Men wanted to battle the Superman, was because, and then I experienced my own version of that when I started competing.
What did they?
Well, Clark did speak of you guys in his episode. He did definitely bigged up the X-Men. He definitely
fucking miss Clark, man.
But that's why the X-Men were formed, right? Just to
to battle the Superman.
They were like, we're gonna
to battle the Superman.
We're gonna call ourselves the X-Men.
And he also said that he wanted to manage y'all guys. He wanted to put y'all up there because he was competitively done with it.
So by 1994, Clark stopped curating the seminar battles that we would get in, and started focusing more on production. He was also the A&R at East West Records.
Yeah, he was doing a lot.
And this is the beauty of Clark Kent, man. Yo, a part of me hated Clark just because he was a Superman. No other reason, right? And he knew that. And Raider and I felt the same way, because it was just us pretty much representing the X-Men by 94. I'm lying. We did put Mr. Sinister down in 1993.
I was going to ask when Mr. Sinister was there.
We put him down in 1993. So it was myself, sorry, Sin, Rock Raider, and Sin. It was the three of us by early 1994 when Clark stopped curating the seminar battles. So more so, myself and Raider were the ones that had this animosity towards the Superman, because we were carrying on the legacy of the X-Men, right? And it's almost that thing where, like, Crooked, if you walk out of this studio and somebody bumps into you and Goldfinger sees that shit, he's gonna be like, yo, what the fuck's your problem? Like, you bumped into my boy. Although no one touched you. You know what I'm saying? It was the same thing.
Inherited beef.
Right. It was inherited beef. And so, yo, I'm not gonna even lie, bro. Like, we were not fucking with Clark. There's really no nice way to put it. Or Scratch, or Rich. Clark knew this, and one day calls me up. He's like, "Yo, Rob, bring Raider with you to East West Records. I want to talk to you guys." So I call Raider, and I'm like, "Yo, Clark wants us to go to his office at East West." Raider's like, all right. So we train it up there.
Were you like, is this a trap?
Yo, we're like, yo, is this a trap? And what the fuck does Clark have to say to us? You know what I mean? Like, we're the shit right now.
Yeah.
Like, we're the illest dudes in New York, and we'll battle any one of them motherfuckers and beat them. And what? Talking shit, right? Thinking all kind of crazy shit. We get to East West Records. Clark sits us down and he goes, fellas, you guys are dope. Like, there's no denying that. Y'all are like the fucking illest dudes. My dudes are ill too. Don't get it twisted. But y'all are fucking sick. But there's more to this shit than being dope. I want to see you guys take this to the next level. And we're there like sitting like we came here ready to like pop shit to him. You know, what is he gonna try to think of like some scenario where we could battle the Superman and all that shit? And Clark invited us to his office. I remember Dame Dash was actually there with him, right? To school us and educate us on how to turn our talent,
something bigger.
Right. Our passion into profit, into something bigger.
That's Clark.
Yo, bro.
That's Clark.
That, as of that day, dude, I just remember realizing that this DJ shit, because that's the element that I'm most immersed in. I left his studio, his office, understanding that there was more to this than being nasty. If it wasn't for that meeting in his office, I don't think this book would be here. I don't think this body would be here in this chair, bro. Because a lot of DJs that I came up with can't say that they own their own home and drive a 2024 Expedition, you know what I mean? And have a book to their name and have traveled the world and own their own business. You know, a lot of the kids that I came up with DJing, talented kids who never had someone like Clark sit them down and have that conversation, are working regular 9-to-5s right now for UPS or FedEx or at some bank. And that's not to say that there's anything wrong with that.
Right.
But boy, am I glad that Clark sat me down, although he knew that we had animosity towards him. He saw past that and was like, I want to plant seeds in the minds of these two kids that just want to battle me and hate me because I might have picked a protege of mine in a battle over Rob or Raider. Let me educate these kids and help them understand that there's more to this shit, that there's a business out there that's being based around talents that they already have that's worth a gazillion dollars.
That's
bro, Clark. Oh man, dude, yo, I miss him so much, man. I miss him so much, man. And he called me in June out of nowhere. And he was like, yo, Rob, I'm proud of you, man.
Last year.
Yeah, bro. Last year, he was like, yo, Rob, I'm proud of you, man. He was like, I see all the stuff that you're talking about.
Yeah, he was a good guy, man.
Online and all that. He was like, don't stop.
Yeah.
Take your time, man.
Great man. Great man. Yeah, he told a story on his episode where he was like, he really had a lot of respect for you guys, and he basically said, you know, he wanted to sit y'all guys down, he wanted to manage y'all, he wanted to give you the plan of doing stuff. That's just who he was. That's just who he was.
He gave us a plan.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fucking gave us a plan.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah.
It's no surprise that like in '97 you guys dropped an album, right? Expressions.
Yeah, by 1997 we dropped an album. Doing part because of the advice that he gave us.
Right.
Like I realized like, yo, there's more to this battling shit. Right? There's more to this DJing shit than us just proving how dope we are. So at the time I was managing the X-Men. By 95, it was myself, Raider, Total Eclipse. We put Total Eclipse down.
Total Eclipse, my dude.
From Brooklyn.
Total Eclipse.
And
we work with Total Eclipse.
So it was myself, Raider, Total Eclipse, and Mr. Sinister. And I was managing the group because I was in college and my major was business. So Raider was like, yo, let Rob manage the group. So I was managing the group. We'd get shows in and around New York City. You know, we'd make like $200. We'd split like $200 4 ways. We were working with like Fat Beats, doing a lot of in-stores at Joe Abajian's store in the Lower East Side. And I was at Fat Beats one day and ran into this guy named Not Human, who was the co-owner of a label called Asphodel. And I'm talking to him at Fat Beats and I'm telling him who we are. And I'm like, give me your number. He gave me his number. Fast forward a few months, we ended up signing a deal after I met Not Human at Fat Beats. And so we released the first, not major label, we released the first independent album by a turntablist group, and it was Expressions. Right. In 1996, by 1997, we're touring with Common and Rozelle. We're in LA. Rick Rubin goes to one of our shows, and after we're done, runs backstage, and he's like, yo, I want to sign the group. Oof. And we're like, oh shit. So we go to breakfast the next morning with Rick Rubin, and he's like, yeah, I want to sign you guys to Def America.
That's crazy.
So we're like, yes, we're going to do it. And Sean C says that it's not the way I'm about to say it went, but I think it's the way I'm about to say it went. I think Raider told Sean C, who was by now an A&R at Loud Records, that Rick Rubin wanted to sign the group to Def America. And I say Raider because Raider was what Dr. Butcher was to me, Sean C was to Raider. So Sean was Raider's mentor. And after that breakfast with Rick Rubin, I think Raider told Sean, like, yo, Rick Rubin's about to sign us. And Sean was like, oh,
fuck
word?
That. Let me go talk to Steve.
And basically he went, spoke to Steve Rifkin, and then there was like this bidding war over the X-Ecutioners, and Loud won. I personally wanted to go with Def America. My whole thing was, guys, the records that we cut in our show are Rick Rubin's. Like, he's gonna teach us how to take our talent and filter it out in a recording studio environment.
Right.
But the guys were like, Rob, Loud got Wu-Tang, Loud got Big Pun, Loud got
Mobb Deep.
Loud got Exhibit.
Dead Prez.
What does Def America have?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Sorry for yelling in the mic. And so I got outvoted 3-1, bro. Sin, Eclipse, and Raider were like, nah, Rob, we want to go with Loud. And I was left by myself wanting to go with Def America and Rick Rubin. And yo, our manager called Rick and told him the group is split 3-1. Raider, Sinister, and Total Eclipse want to sign with Loud. Rob wants to sign with you, Rick. I'm sorry, but we're going to go with Loud. Rick was like, give me Rob's number. So Rick calls me, and he's like, yo, I'm in New York. Can I pass by your house? I'm like, what? In my head, right? I'm like, sure, I'll be home. Hang up. That night, Rick calls me again. It's like maybe like 11:30 at night, bro. Calls me, yo, I'm downstairs. What building is it? And I'm like, yeah, it's 34. Walks in, what apartment? Yes. Buzz him in. I look outside, there's a stretch limo waiting for him, right? He comes up to my apartment, and I'm like, yo, in my head, Rick Rubin's at my fucking doorstep. Open the door, through the peephole at least, I'm thinking that. Open the door, he walks in, sits down. I had a 1-bedroom apartment at the time, yo, and I had a futon, right? Futon's literally still in my recording studio, and like to this day, dude, whenever I walk in my recording studio, I look at where fucking Rick sat on the futon. So he's sitting on the futon, Indian style. Like, Rob, what's the issue? Like, why isn't the guys signing with me? And this is Rick Rubin asking me this shit, dude, in my apartment. And I'm like, Rick, I'm sorry, man, but like the guys just want to go with Loud. Like, you know, there's all this like, there's this pull there, right? They got Wu-Tang, they got Mob, and I think the guys just feel like they're gonna have an opportunity to collaborate with these artists that they look up to. Mm-hmm. And so I really don't know what I could do, bro. I want to sign with you. He's like, damn. Rick Rubin, bro. And he was like, yo, you know, we're talking, fast forward, by the end of the meeting, he's, you know, in my bedroom with me, watching me, because he wants me to cut up Rock the Bells in front of him. Wow. He was like, yo, at that LA show, you were doing something with Rock the Bells, bro, and I just want to see exactly what you were doing. And I'm like, diving into my crate of records, pulling out Rock the Bells in front of Rick Rubin, placing the record.
Did you get him signed?
Nah, bro, I didn't even get him signed, bro. I didn't even get him signed. Nah.
Straight amateur. Straight amateur.
Hey, yo, what's good? This is the R.O.A.D podcast, Reflections of a DJ. We're here in New York City, and we have invaded the Sound Collective. Now, I want to explain what the Sound Collective is. I got my man Lefty from the Sound Collective here. Lefty, thank you for having us and hosting this beautiful studio for us. Exactly what is the Sound Collective here in New York?
Modern, state-of-the-art facility with tons of production gear. And one side of it is you can be a member and you can come here and pay monthly to use the rooms and the gear and sign out time and our space. We have a state-of-the-art studio. We have all these production stations, DJ stations, instrument practicing rooms and such like that.
And you also like teach. You have like classes and sessions, right?
We have intensive programs, short-term programs that people can come and take Saturday classes on DJing, production.
There's like kind of a community building within where there's like DJs, producers, musicians.
Up and coming producers, people honing their craft and learning, and DJs and all these things. And they come here and practice, and we have all the new gear, so they come and check that out and get familiar. And a lot of DJs will come in from out of town, be like, let me get a day pass so I can just get a refresh on the 3000s and the V10.
And what's great is that a lot of our guests, everyone from like Clark Kent to the technician to like Camilo, they come in here and they're just like, holy shit.
You want to play with all the gear, man? Yeah.
I didn't even realize this, but you guys have like studio spaces where people can do live streams and they can do their Twitch streams.
Yep. We got a whole green screen set up already, multicam, full on switcher. Like, we also do a lot of events here. We're bringing a lot of outside talent, organizations. We got a big event coming up with DJ City, Beat Source, and Serato.
That's part of our family.
Yeah. We did a big one last year with them. We got another one coming up.
For our listeners, is there any way we could hook them up with a deal, or, you know, like if they put in a R.O.A.D podcast code?
Yeah, tell me about it. What else do you have envisioned for this deal? It sounds like we're well on our way. Why don't you tell them?
You're working with us where they can type in a code for like R.O.A.D.
Yep.
And they'll get a month free, right?
Yeah, on our online platform. We have a whole online platform with like masterclass style education.
Nice.
Different categories and everything, instruments, drums. And then we have these things that we're launching right now called Pro Paths. So you can choose, like if you're a producer, you can take the Ableton Pro Path, the Logic Pro Path, Serato Studio. Goes through a wide variety of knowledge besides just stuff in that skill set and discipline.
So our R.O.A.D listeners, if you're in New York, you can check out their facility. Mm-hmm. You can do a day pass, a week pass, a monthly pass. You can check out their site. You have access to all the education online.
Soundcollective.com. We also have a YouTube channel that has some of our content from the educational courses, and all of our events are live streamed and put up there.
I hope we can come back here and use your facilities again.
Looking forward to it.
Shout to Lefty and the Sound Collective. Thank you so much.
Although we didn't sign with Rick Rubin and Def America, I'm still grateful to Sean for stealing us, because built from scratch.
Made history.
Yeah, we made history with that album.
Right.
It was the first major label release by a turntablist crew, and specifically the song "It's Going Down" featuring Linkin Park.
That shit was on MTV.
That shit took us to other stratospheres, bro, and that album changed our lives.
It was a top 20 album. You guys were on TRL, and you performed at like the MTV Music Award.
We performed at the MTV 2001 Music Awards in front of Britney Spears, NSYNC, Michael Jackson, Janet Jackson, Dale Earnhardt. Who's who in pop culture, bro, was there watching me do drum patterns with Rock the Bells and Total Eclipse of Scratching, Jimi Hendrix, Are You Experienced, and Linkin Park is in front of us performing One Step Closer. Come on, bro.
Yeah. And the rest is history.
I have a question. Why was Mr. Sinister not in every music video and every interview and every performance?
That's a valid question. And this is common knowledge. Maybe not common in a sense that, we talk a lot about this in our interviews, but it's out there. So I don't feel weird saying this. When we signed our record contract in 97 with Asphodel Records and started touring, Sin started partying hard. And it became an issue. And we dealt with it from like 97 through 2000. But by 2001, when Built From Scratch was about to drop the next year, we were like, yo, Joey, like, you're wildin', bro. Like, there'll be incidences where, like, we'd be at a show and Joey would be out with some, like, groupie chick partying. He'll miss his flight. Our road manager would have to stay behind and find Joey while we're like on a plane going to the next city.
Right. Would it affect
and it would affect
performance?
Yeah, it would affect. Yeah, exactly. That was happening a lot. Right, exactly. And
so in some cases he didn't even make it to the shoot. So like
shows,
for the video,
like
right?
shows. Yeah, exactly. There were cases where he'd miss shows.
Because he wasn't in the video with Linkin Park.
By the time that we shot the video, maybe a few months before, we were like, Joe, we gotta part ways. Wow. Cause like you're wilding, man. You're wilding. Like you're
and their performances are like timed.
Right. It's
their shit is like so
exactly. It's 4 DJs. Yeah. It's 4 DJs on 4 turntables, and everything is happening in lockstep. It's all syncopated. So if you take out one person,
that's a whole routine.
That's a whole routine that is not getting done. So, our manager was just like, you guys got to think about this because it's your careers and like this is the apex, moment of your careers.
Yeah.
And you don't want that shit to go to shit because Sin is wilding. You know what I mean? So,
everything's good now.
Here's the thing. So Sin and the X-Ecutioners parted ways. We started rolling as a 3-man group. It was myself, Total Eclipse, and Rock Raider. Then Loud folded. Do you remember when Loud folded?
Yes.
Right? And because Loud was under Sony, we became inherited by Sony,
right,
by default.
Right.
So now we're recording our 3rd album, 2nd major label release called Revolutions. And I remember we walk into our A&R's office. It wasn't even an office. He had like a cubicle, right? So we're there and he's like looking at us. We're looking at him. It's not Sean C.
Yeah.
It's this, I'm not trying to be, xenophobic or anything like that, but it's this like white dude with glasses that has no connection to what the X-Men X-Ecutioners are.
Because your guys were Sony. That was like straight corporate.
Right. Straight corporate vibe. Thank you. Damn, he's really good at saying shit that I want to say in a PC way. It was straight corporate, right? So we're looking at him. He's looking at us. And he's like, look, all you guys need to do is make another song like It's Going Down. And I was like, this shit
ain't gonna work.
We're fucked. We're fucked. So, and I was right. Gradually, the writing was on the wall. Gradually, little by little, the label was putting us in these situations to record songs with like Rob Zombie, No Disrespect, Love Halloween. And
they wanted to reinvent the wheel again.
And my whole thing was, this is why we should have signed with Rick Rubin.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. Had you
exactly. Right, exactly. So I got frustrated and left the group too. So it wasn't just Sin. I left the group by 2004. Wow. And then when I left the group, Total Eclipse was like, to replace Rob, I want to put Precision down. Precision was my student. I met Precision like when he was like 16 years old. I taught a DJ class at his high school in Queens.
That's crazy.
So Eclipse was like, I want to put Precision down to replace Rob, which made sense. Precision was my protege. Then Raider was like, if you're going to put P down, I want to put Blind down.
Got it.
And that's how Blind got down with the X-Ecutioners, and then it became 4 of them again.
Right.
And I was by myself doing my own thing. Sin was by himself doing his own thing.
You guys linked together in 2008, right?
No, not yet. Not yet. By 2008, what actually ended up happening was Raider was like, yo, fuck this shit, dude. We got to put the band back together. And he had us all come together, not just the X-Ecutioners sect, but the whole X-Men collective. Sean C., Diamond J., Steve D., DMD.
Now it's about legacy.
All of us got together and we did a reunion date at SOB's. No, not SOB's.
BB King's.
No, it wasn't BB King's. It was a spot in Manhattan. I forgot the name of the spot. It might have been, no, it wasn't SOB's. It was some spot in Manhattan, and now they have a spot now in Brooklyn too. I forgot the name of the club. But anyway, we did a show that basically reunited the crew, and from then on we all kind of got back together. We were like, yo, let's, Sin got his shit together by then.
Right.
I wasn't ornery and feeling like, yo, shit got fucked up, I'm gonna do my own solo shit. And we were all just doing our thing together as a group. We toured Australia in 2009, and then, or it might have been 2008, and then in 2009 we lost Raider. Rest in peace.
Rest in peace.
But fast forward to 2018, that's when I linked up with Sin, and we started our own thing called The Odd Couple. And to this day, we still rock together. I'm going to see him on Thursday. What up, Sin?
And 2025, it's the book.
Word. And 2025 is the book, man. It's the book. The City of Hip Hop. I'm basically talking about what hip hop is to me, that we can't just view it through a lens of creativity. There's more to this culture than being able to pick up a piece of vinyl and scratch. Why are we picking up records? Why are we redefining the use of a turntable? Why are we taking cardboard, ripping it up, and taping it to cement in a park and using that cardboard as our dance floor? Hip hop is a culture of oppressed people. Hip hop is a culture of oppressed people, and you don't have to be black or Puerto Rican to be oppressed, And so the economics of hip hop, the geography that went into these different ethnicities coming together, congregating in the Bronx, that's the kind of stuff that I talk about in the book. And yeah, man, I appreciate you guys having me on your podcast, man. And this was a great conversation because although there were points where you and I, Goldfinger, disagreed, through disagreements, that's how you get to craft your argument and your thoughts about in terms of hip hop.
It's not necessarily, it's just different perspectives.
Yeah,
and all that can be used. All of it can be used.
All of it, yo.
It just informs. You know what I mean?
This is the last shit I'll say, man. That I started noticing these narratives circling around hip hop culture like in 2021, right as the pandemic lockdown was ending, right? September 2021. Yo, for 2 years, I'm arguing, maybe with bots, maybe with actual people, but I'm arguing. But in those 2 years, I formed my thesis for what became this book. So to your point, yet again, I used it. So all those arguments that I was having, all the debates, and I'm being called names and disrespected. Dudes
log off, bro.
See, I'm glad I didn't log off, bro, because if I would have logged off, we wouldn't have this book.
Okay.
All of those arguments was helping me frame my stance on this culture. You know what I'm saying? So I used it. It didn't go to waste. So thank you to all those factions of people out there. Thank you for calling me Tether. Thank you for saying I'm an anchor baby. I appreciate it because it armed me with the motivation to do my research and understand this culture in a way that gave me this book.
But
so
you were so passionate, and you have so much gratitude towards hip hop. It's only right that you would protect it, like, you know, and that's where it comes from, is that you're really trying to protect,
no doubt,
hip hop. And yo, like, Etienne, I gotta have you back on.
Let's do it, man.
You know, one of these days.
The passionate Rob Swift.
Yo, congratulations on the book. And
good stuff, man.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for coming through, man. And I'm definitely gonna cop a couple copies and hand them out and shit like that, man.
Rest in peace, Clark Kent. Rest in peace, Scoop Rock.
Yeah,
love you.
Yeah.
Rest in peace, Rock Raider. Too.
Yes, sir.
Rest in peace, Rock Raider. Hell yeah.
Rob Swift, thank you, man.
Yes, sir.
If you want to watch more episodes from R.O.A.D Podcast, click either links on the left or the right. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube page and get updated on new uploads throughout the week. Peace.